Okay, all right. So today we're in Unit 7, Lesson 2, which is translating expressions. So what are we talking about here? All right, let's see. Okay, so what are we doing? We are setting you up. I am setting you up to be able to solve word problems with equations down the line. So in order for you to be able to do that, if you can translate simple expressions, which we talked about in class, right? What's an expression? That's an expression, right? Now what is this then? Right, that's an equation, right? So how do you translate expressions right now so that down the line you can solve equation word problems? Okay, so these are some of the keywords here that you will see. All right, if you want to pause and just briefly review it, you can. Yeah, so take a look at this. And then just so that you can familiarize yourself with these sort of words so that when you see them, you know exactly what to write. Okay, so let's talk about what this looks like. So we're going to try these first. We'll do these 4 together. I want you to try these 3, but moreover, I would like you to also pay attention almost as a lesson, because one of the constraints that I have is I don't want to put too many questions and examples on there, because then the video becomes quite long. Okay, hold on, I gotta turn the lights back on. It just went off. All right, and the lights are back on. So, all right. So now look at the first one, right? Difference. What operation is denoted by the word difference? Right, subtraction. So the difference of a number and 15, how do you write that? A number, right? N is a number. The difference between a number and 15. Okay, so that's the expression. Okay? Product. What's a product? That's right, multiplication, right? So 7, right, times a number. You can write it shorter than that. You can just write 7n. Okay? All right, sum. The sum of 3 and the quotient. Now it gets interesting. So I did that on purpose. I'm trying to make this more difficult, because you've had some practice in class already. So I want to take this time to do the slightly more complex sort of translation. The sum of 3, right? So you got 3 going on. There's a sum. And notice the emphasis, right? The sum of 3 and the quotient of a number and 6. Quotient, what does quotient mean? Right, divide, right? So the quotient of a number and 6. So once again, the sum of 3 and, right, sum and the quotient of a number and 6. Okay, all right, now, if you want, you can try this one on your own, actually. You can pause right here, because I think the more practice you get, the better. Okay, look at this one. How would you write that? Right, the sum now. So you got to write the plus sign here. The sum of the product of 5 and a number. So the product of 5 and a number. So how do you write the product of 5 and a number? Look back at 2. The product of 5 and a number. Right, 5n and 9. So one more time. The sum sum of the product of 5 and a number and 9. Okay, so these are tough. These are tough because you're not used to doing this. You're not used to turning words into expressions, right? Because even if you're translating, you're used to translating words into numbers, right? But now we got expression, meaning like these variables, right? Which is all represented by number, right? Number. Okay, all right. So let's go back here. Now, I already explained to you why it's important, right? When you solve word problems with expressions, more equations, right, comes into play. Now, think about this. How do you translate this into an English sentence? And don't say like 5 minus y. That's not what I mean, right? Use words like difference, sum, product, quotient, right? So how would you write that? Okay. By the way, you can pause if you want to. Okay, my handwriting is getting bad again. All right, how would you write this? Right, the difference of 5 and a number. That's how you would write that. Okay, not a number and 5, because if you write down the difference of a number and 5, this is it. And you know that that's wrong, right? 5 minus y is not the same thing as y minus 5. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, how do you write this? This one's tough. So if you want to, refer back to one of these. How would you write this one? Okay, now look at the operation first. At the end, you're gonna have to add. So you're gonna have to write the sum, right? Because after you say this and this, you're gonna have to add them together. So this should come first. The sum of what? How do you say this? Right, the product of 7 and a and a number what? Yep. And so you see how I use the capital N, right? And 2. So this is how you should see it. By the way, so in other words, one way to check your answer is read this to yourself and see if you would write this as an answer. So here we go. The sum of the product. So the sum, right? So the sum, right? I'm not even looking here. The sum of the product of 7 and a number. Product of 7 and a number. And 2. Okay, precisely. All right, last one. This one's tough because the question is, how do you say it in such a way? How do you write this English sentence in such a way that you actually, the parentheses is spoken without having to spell it out for the person? Meaning like you can't say in, right? How do you do that? Okay, this is tough, okay? So here you have to point this one out first. So it's the quotient. This one's tough. The quotient of what? Yep, how do you say this? The quotient of a number. No, the quotient of the sum. Okay, all right, see, even I'm screwing up. The quotient of, right? And then you gotta put this here. And 2. Right? The quotient of something, and 2. Quotient of something and 2. So the quotient of, how do you say this? Right, the sum of a number and 8 and 2. So one more time, the quotient of the sum of a number. So quotient, right, of the sum of a number and 8 and 2. Okay, so this is pretty tough. I gotta say, it's not easy. All right, so, okay, all right. So let me stop it here, and thanks for watching.
OMG, that was so good.